Hi, everybody. Happy 4th of July to you. It's meteorologist Matt Wentz with you. We just want to give you a quick storm update over what we've got coming into the region. I know there's a lot of firework plans for this evening. A lot of questions coming in asking, should we go? Should they be on? All that stuff. So let's get to that so you can have that answer at least in your back pocket, or a little bit of guidance there as well. All right, so here's what we've got going on. There's a big old cluster of showers and thunderstorms. This is one of those complexes that we're going to be dealing with really over the next 4 days. As it looks right now, there's going to be multiple just complexes of storms that develop. They'll track kind of along a boundary that I'll show you here in a second. Where that boundary ends up, that remains in question. So again, the forecast over the next 4 days, you're never going to have an accurate one with your apps or anything like that, because the models just don't pick up on this very well at all, because these storms all hinge on where they develop the night before or the day before, and it's just a big mess. But bottom line, we have good storm chances the next 4 days with these complexes of storms that develop on that heat boundary that's down to our south. So what we're dealing with now, you've noticed the clouds. I mean, we're covered in clouds right now. We had some rain earlier today. All of this is just off of 2 supercell thunderstorms that are putting clouds up 50, 60,000 feet in the atmosphere, and they're kind of covering the region. So we're not dealing with a lot of rain, but we're under that deck of clouds, which is the anvil part of these thunderstorms. So you can see it here on satellite. Really good presentation. The storm center down to our south and the west. We've got that secondary storm that we're watching just off towards our west. And all of that is spraying cloud cover over the region. So let's put on the radar here as well. And I want to zoom in for you and show you not just where the rain is right now, but I want to show you what these are kind of hinging on. So here's our first storm that went through towards our west. We did get periodic thunder and lightning off of that because, again, we were under the anvil part of the storm, but we got just a general soaking rain from that. Here's the second storm. This is a little supercell that could, as it worked out of Wisconsin into Illinois. It was holding together pretty well, but it's really starting to fall apart. We're getting some light rain in the areas of Lake County. A little bit of light rain will probably head into areas of Porter County here shortly as well. But this storm's really fallen apart quite a bit. It's a very small core to this. So the area that saw some wind damage from this in Illinois was very small. It's a potent storm, but it doesn't look to directly affect us here in Lake County. Now, Newton County is going to be a different story. The storm's falling apart, but it may hold together enough to produce at least some heavier rain and some lightning in Newton County as this moves in, probably in another 45 minutes to an hour or so down towards the Lowell area, eventually affecting maybe Rensselaer with a little bit of rain as well. But in terms of severe weather out of this, I know there's a severe thunderstorm watch. That was precautionary. That was for Newton and Jasper counties. I really don't seeing that being an issue as we go throughout the rest of the evening. I think our severe weather threat is pretty low as this storm continues to kind of fizzle. It's all kind of hinging on this instability boundary. So as you see here on the map, I threw these colors on here, and actually let me zoom out to show you this, because this is going to be the pattern really over the next week. Or not week, but next 4 days or so. So almost the next week. But you can see as we zoom out, you notice how all these deep reds, we've looked at this a couple weeks ago. There's these deep reds in the plain states. That is some extreme instability. So basically the atmosphere is very buoyant. Everything's going to go up and lift. It's got good reason for everything to lift as long as there's some kind of trigger mechanism. And you can see where we've got kind of lower numbers or lower values back into central Indiana, back towards Ohio and Michigan. That's where there's not a lot of buoyancy to the atmosphere. These storm clusters develop and they travel along that boundary. It's called an instability gradient between the really unstable air and the not so unstable air. And where that boundary is right now, or those train tracks, as I like to say, are right over northwest Indiana. So we've got more storms developing right now in Wisconsin. These storms that you see up towards Wisconsin will eventually start to sink down to the south. And that will probably move in here either tonight or early tomorrow morning with some rain and perhaps some storms. This boundary will kind of linger over the region, so we'll continue to see these big clusters of storms develop periodically, and they'll roll along that. And we could be in line with that, again, the next 4 days or so. In terms of fireworks tonight, I think we're okay. I really do. It's tough to say when there's rain out there right now, but the rain that we have moving into Lake County will eventually settle into Newton, Jasper County around, 7:30 or so. It should settle in that area. So that will clear Lake, Porter, and LaPorte counties out. It should. We'll still have some clouds around off of these thunderheads, but I think the rain chance will be over for you. As it heads down to Newton Jasper County, may have a rain chance through the 8 or 9 o'clock hour. That should move out. This Wisconsin activity, I'm not expecting to move in until after fireworks. So if you're debating going to fireworks tonight, if you are in charge of putting on the fireworks tonight, again, we've worked hand in hand with our local fireworks folks as well. So it's not an easy decision, I know, but things look good. I think we're going to thread the needle in terms of rainfall this evening. And I think we look good. Newton Jasper County, that's the only area in question right now is how long does this supercell kind of hold together? Because it does look like it's falling apart right now. And then the stuff you see off towards the north, I think that's going to be in here well after probably midnight or so. Maybe 11, 12 o'clock, we'll start to see that sink south. But I don't see it being an issue here this evening. So fireworks should be a go this evening if your community has those tonight. In terms of where we go from here, I'll just say this briefly. We'll get you on your way here, and I can certainly answer your questions as well. But where do we go from here? Well, here's our pattern right now, which that doesn't look like it at all. So let me go back and make sure this is the latest model run because that didn't look right. There we go. This looks right. So this is the latest HRRR run. This is the only model I trust right now. The rest are kind of all over the board. Reason why I trust this is because it looks kind of like the radar does now. So the initialization of this model looks pretty true to what's actually happening. So where do we go from here? Everything kind of falls apart in terms of, let me go back to this one here. Everything kind of falls apart locally. Here's our little window of drier weather that we'll get here this evening. Here's the Wisconsin activity developing along that instability gradient. And watch what happens to that. It eventually sinks south into the region as we get into the morning hours. This is around midnight or so where we start to see the effects of whatever develops towards our north. Some of those storms could be on the stronger side. I think right now we're just going to deal with a heavy rain and lightning threat if this materializes. And you can see that pushes out early morning tomorrow, maybe some residual activity back towards Fort Wayne into Ohio. But really, it looks like we'll dry out for a little bit during that time frame. And then eventually we'll develop more storms at some point later on tomorrow. And those could be the strong to severe side because it's going to be hot and humid tomorrow. Let me see if this model has it here. This should pick up that story. And you can see this is what the HRRR is saying. This is a couple model runs ago, but it's still valid. This is tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow evening. There'll likely be some kind of thunderstorms that develop over the region. Some of those could be strong to severe, and you can see how they may form a complex here, another complex out towards the plains. Again, it's totally at random where these complexes develop, except for the fact they're usually along that instability gradient. So that's why we're going to keep scattered storms in waves, many dry hours in between, but we will have scattered storms really through Wednesday at this point, maybe even into Thursday, and perhaps into early Friday before this front finally gets out here, okay? So that's what we're looking at in terms of this evening. That's what we're looking at in terms of the next couple of days as well. But just wanted to get you out ahead of this if you have fireworks plans this evening in terms of should I get out or should I not, okay? So let's go ahead and answer your questions, and then we'll get you on your way here on this 4th of July. Derek asking a good question saying, is there a severe thunderstorm watch possible across northern Illinois? They're talking about it, or maybe you're saying that they are. Yeah, they're talking about it. I would imagine that Wisconsin activity does turn severe pretty quickly. Again, it's going to take its time before it gets here. We're a little bit more stable right now because we've had the rain throughout the course of the afternoon with that first round that went through. We have a little bit of rain left over now. So severe threat tonight, again, it's there. It looks lower in Northwest Indiana than does Northern Illinois and Wisconsin, but something we'll need to keep an eye on. I foresee tonight as being some rain moves in, some rain and some lightning. Severe threat in my mind is lower tonight. But great comment or question on there, Derek, whichever way you're taking that. Thank you, guys. Everyone's saying happy 4th of July. I appreciate that. We just got back into town, so I know, we posted the extended forecast on Friday and got back. I'm back to work tonight, obviously. But we're back in the driver's seat again. So we got your forecast covered here. And staying home with the fur babies. Is there estimate how much rain we might get? Kathy, there's not. In terms of this evening right now, there's not much more. There's a little bit of rain heading into Lake County. That's it. In terms of what we get from that Wisconsin stuff, potential's there for some pretty heavy rain, but it all depends on how this complex of thunderstorms develops, where the heaviest rain kind of goes to and all that. But again, the potential's there overnight tonight for another round of some heavier rain, which we all know we could use, not too much, but we'll see. And Kathy, another good question. Is it going to be consistent track the next few days? The track is right over Northwest Indiana next couple days. So these complexes of storms, they can miss us just to the north, just to the south, but the odds are really good that we're going to get some good soaking rain out of at least 2 or 3 of these complexes of storms through the Thursday timeframe. And some of them could be strong to severe, obviously. Julie asking, where did I live in Indiana? So we were in the Maryville area. I worked in Maryville at Lakeshore Public Television. I was the chief meteorologist there. So that's where I worked. We actually lived in Chicago. My wife and I did, because she worked downtown Chicago. So I made the commute every day, the 50-mile commute to Lakeshore. If any of you remember Jody Jewell and Joe Arredondo, they were just the best. They're buddies for life. But we had a good team there. And I went back and watched some videos the other day. This is over 10 years ago. I was just so young. I was so young. It's embarrassing to watch those videos. So I appreciate all those of you that have joined me since day one in Northwest Indiana, obviously, for the start of my career, because it was really bad. It really was. It's embarrassing to watch. Maxwell asking a great question, and I brought this up on the TV side of things here. He's asking, any chance for a derecho this week? Max, there is, and the setup's kind of the same as what we had a couple weeks ago with that derecho that went through Michigan, Indiana. Remember, Fort Wayne had the amazing winds out of that. It's never a guarantee that you're going to get one of those, but it's always a possibility when you have these. It's not just scattered thunderstorms that are developing, right? These are complexes of storms that are organized, and they form into just basically a living, breathing thunderstorm organism that can't die out easily, right? They've got a lot of power. They travel for miles. So could we get wind damage out of one of these this week? For sure. Is that a guarantee? It's not. It all depends on how they evolve. We look at how tonight's evolved. It evolved into 2 separate thunderstorms, which were both supercells. We had the main one, which went down to our south, which just brought us rain this evening. Then we had that other one, which was really compact but held together. They never merged. Sometimes they merge and form a bigger cluster. Tonight they stayed separate, and they were a little on the weaker side, relatively speaking. So there's no telling. I think our best chance, though, is later tomorrow. I think we'll get some good organization of some kind of thunderstorm cluster tomorrow. Haley, no, not at all. And that's kind of why I'm going on. I've gotten a couple questions about Valparaiso's fireworks tonight. And I really think we're fine. We're going to have these clouds coming in. We might have some raindrops the next hour or so, but the activity up in Wisconsin, I think will stay there and start to move south later on beyond fireworks. So I think fireworks are a go this evening. Again, that's my opinion. I know phone apps say different things, but I really think we're fine. Lori, the rainfall, it depends on where it goes. I can show you what the models are saying, but again, the models don't grasp this pattern at all. I've been watching these things all day, and they change every single hour. So it's more of a nowcast with these situations. But we do know there's activity up in Wisconsin tonight, and you can see the potential. This is your rainfall potential. Again, this isn't truth. This is just what the model thinks is going to happen. Wherever this complex ends up going is where you're going to get the heavy rain, right? But look at the potential of this. I mean, some of these numbers coming out of this in Wisconsin tonight, and I could see this happening. I mean, they're talking maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 inches of rain in spots because there's training going on or thunderstorms developing over the same area. I don't see the training here in Northwest Indiana, but we could see some of these kind of clip the area. This could also sink further south, but Lori, you're asking for the potential for rainfall. The potential's there that if you get under these thunderstorms, we could be talking several inches of rain, which would really be great. Not too much of a hurry, but obviously we need the rain for sure. Yeah, Mark remembers the reports from the fairs. Yeah, I would do the Lake County Fairgrounds. I remember the frog legs. I tried frog legs for the first time, and man, just so many good memories, Mark, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Got to start somewhere. And I couldn't be more proud to start Northwest Indiana. I'm not kidding. I had the best time there, 7 years, in the Maryville area. And I remember every minute of it still. It really was a wonderful start. And, if they still had TV at Lakeshore, would I come back? Maybe. Because that was a good group of folks we had there. Let's see. Drew, you're welcome, buddy. Absolutely. Rhonda says, do you think there will be strong thunderstorms Wednesday morning? So, Rhonda, the good news is our chance for big storms in the morning is a little bit lower. Not much, but, they're a little bit lower in the mornings. It depends on what happens Tuesday night. I have a feeling what develops Tuesday night, or Tuesday evening, Tuesday night, I have a feeling that will carry through, during the nighttime hours. And I don't think we're going to have much left Wednesday morning. Let's say the situation develops where we don't develop storms as we're thinking on Tuesday night, and they develop Wednesday morning. That would bring us our strong storm chance. But as of right now, Rhonda, I don't see strong storms around on Wednesday morning. I see residual rain from whatever develops Tuesday night. But we're going to be hot and humid tomorrow for sure. Mark says getting rain with bright sun in South Hobart right now. That's your summertime thunderstorm, Mark. It's crazy how it works. Let's go back to satellite real quick here. I'll take the radar off. We'll go back to, let's see. What am I looking for here? I don't even know where I start. This is it. Yeah, so the sun's starting to come out in northwestern Lake County too. Here's our complex of storms. Look at this thing. It's just amazing what this looks like presentation-wise. I'm going to go just a tick north here. Here we go. Yeah, so this is our big complex of storms. These are the towering cumulonimbus clouds going up in the atmosphere, and this is all sunshine that you see around it. So we're breaking back out into the sun in Chicago right now. There are some sun peaks coming through, as you mentioned, in Lake County, but this thunderstorm kind of impeding our view down to earth. But again, I think we have dry hours here. Once this moves through, and I don't see a severe threat for us locally, here are the huge thunderstorms tops developing up in Wisconsin right now. So those eventually will tower into the atmosphere. The clouds will kind of float on the jet stream coming out of the northwest, and eventually we'll get into some of those later this evening. But that's what we're watching, are those storms off towards the north. But in terms of fireworks this evening, I really think we look okay. They should be a go this evening. Okay, Rhonda, you're welcome for sure. All right, guys, I think that about wraps it up. I hope that helps, and I hope you had a good 4th of July. I know the news isn't always the best around, the country and all that stuff, but I hope in your own, home and your own family and all that you have found it to be a nice day to celebrate freedom and to enjoy what we have here, which, a lot of people don't. So hope you enjoyed that. We had a hot day. Obviously, we're going to get hotter and more humid tomorrow. As this boundary pushes off. And again, we have a severe thunderstorm risk. I think really hinging later tonight on overnight. I think we have a risk, but it's not really a huge risk. Better risk would be tomorrow as things fire up, especially late in the day and tomorrow night. We'll be on it. Again, I'm back in the saddle here, back from a little vacation, and we'll continue to track it for you as well. So you're not on your own getting through these, okay? All right, thanks for joining us here. Go enjoy fireworks this evening. And then we'll maybe enjoy some of Mother Nature's fireworks as we get into the overnight.